Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Now, which is the better buy right now as of today? Not last week, not last year, but today between Geely and Tesla. Not sure who Geely is? Well, I'll tell you exactly who they are, what they do, and why maybe you should consider investing in Geely. Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Great to have you here. If you're new, make sure you subscribe so you can get notifications in your feed. And if you're not, welcome back again, guys. Now, the electric vehicle industry is growing at an incredibly rapid pace. Most people have no idea just how fast it's growing. It's doubled in the US this year alone, doubled in China. Seriously, the rapid pace it's growing at is insane. And nobody is aware of just what's happening and just how fast it's happening. By 2030, it will be all over. All cars will be EVs. And of course, a lot of the mainstream automakers will be out caught in the cold, either bankrupt or they'll have to be bailed out to the tune of billions of dollars. However, Geely and Tesla are two auto companies which will not go bankrupt and will both succeed. But how much will they succeed? Well, that's a damn good question. And maybe an even better question is, can Geely threaten Tesla's leadership position? Now, one of the hottest industries in which to invest currently is EVs, of course. As the globe inches towards clean energy production and consumption, companies within the EV space are poised to grow at an accelerating pace. While 2020 was a breakthrough year for EV stocks, several EV companies have underperformed the market this year, allowing investors to buy growth stocks at more attractive valuations. Now, I think Geely is one of those stocks that has underperformed the market. If you compare their price right now compared to a number of other stocks, a number of other competitors, actually very low, surprisingly low in fact. Now, before I go on, I'm going to quickly explain to you who Geely are, what they do, because most people have no idea. In fact, most people think Volvo is a Swedish company, and it certainly is not. It's owned by Geely, a Chinese company. Now, the Geely Auto Group actually own 7 different car brands. Those are Geely Auto, Geometry, which is an electric-only range of Geely-based cars, Lynk & Co., owned 50% by Geely Auto and 20% by the Zhejiang Geely Holding Group. It's basically owned 100% by Geely. Polestar. Polestar is a new car brand founded by Polestar Racing, now called Cyan Racing, as the performance vehicle division in Volvo Cars. But now they've actually officially split. So now Polestar and Volvo are actually two different car companies. And obviously, Polestar has just brought out their latest car. It is an EV. In fact, all Polestars will be EVs. Now, another company that Geely own is Proton. Geely own 50% of Proton. And Proton is actually the national car brand of Malaysia. I'm not sure how the Malaysians feel about a Chinese company owning their national car brand. But anyway, that's how it is. Now, Geely also own Lotus, obviously the British sports car maker, and they own, of course, Volvo. Volvo is actually 99% controlled by Geely. So in other words, Geely own the company. Now, Geely actually bought the company from Ford in 2010 for US $1.4 billion. Now, it doesn't sound like much, does it? But the truth is that Volvo had been bleeding money in a big way. Now, since Geely took over the company, they've turned things around, and Volvo is no longer the loss maker it once was. In fact, it's now a very successful company, and it plans to transition entirely to EVs by 2030. In fact, it's going to happen much sooner than that, I believe, as Volvo is really on track to go all EV only, from what I can tell, by maybe 2028. Volvo is really investing nothing now in internal combustion engines and looking to transition to EVs as quickly as they possibly can. So as you can see, a very large percentage of Geely's auto holdings are actually electric car companies, or soon will be purely electric car companies. They're definitely headed in the right direction. Now, Geely doesn't just do automotive car companies, cars. They also do motorcycles and, to be honest, a range of other things, including travel and a bunch of really pretty insignificant stuff, to be honest, in the picture. In the grand scheme of things, around about 90% of the business is in the car industry. Now, when you look at Geely's stock price, it's followed a very interesting trajectory. And in fact, it's worth no more right now than what it was all the way back in 2017, when it reached a high of around about, 26 Hong Kong dollars. Now, it's still at about that number. it dipped down significantly and lost about 40% of its value over the subsequent years. But over the last year, the company's gained back all of its losses. But it's still, really, if you think about it, as a potential growth company, fairly undervalued. Geely has a PE of 39.14, and for a company that is primarily focused on EVs, it actually has the lowest PE of any car company in the world at 39.14. Now, for comparison's sake, Tesla's PE right now is around about 650. So yes, the market sees enormous growth happening for Tesla and has priced that into the stock, and fairly so. Now, what's going on at the moment at Geely? Well, recent news reports that Volvo has announced the partnership with Swedish electric battery maker Northvolt on Monday this week as part of the company's bid to sell electric-only cars by 2030. Obviously, Volvo are not just talking about it, they're doing it. A lot of car companies are talking about being EV-only, but not really putting in place a plan on how they're going to achieve it, or sort of putting more in place a bit of a piecemeal plan. Now, this move actually is quite a big one because Volvo already has access to a fair bit of battery manufacturing. They don't make them themselves, but they have contracts with companies to bring in enough batteries for their current supply needs. However, this new partnership will see the building of a new battery gigafactory in Europe and the development of energy cells for Volvo's electric-only sister brand Polestar. The plant will have a capacity to produce up to 50 gigawatt hours per year to start production in 2026. This is equivalent to the batteries needed for around about 500,000 cars if each car had around 50 kilowatt hours of batteries. So from what I can tell, Volvo is putting themselves in a position, Volvo and Polestar, putting themselves in a position to sell around about 1 million EVs by around about 2029. That's quite a lot of cars for really what is not one of the bigger car companies in the world. I believe by 2030, they potentially could have the capacity to sell 2 million EVs, which would be a pretty good market share. Now, obviously, this doesn't include Geely's other brands, Geely Automotive. Now, in addition to the battery plant, both Northvolt and Volvo and Polestar will set up a research and development center in Sweden next year to start developing batteries purely for Volvo and Polestar. Now, one of the cool things about this plant is apparently this new battery factory will be entirely powered by renewable energy. Now, the first car to get battery cells from this factory will be the Volvo XC60, which is one of the best looking SUVs on the market in my view. Now guys, if you're wondering about who Northvolt is, obviously Northvolt is in this as a JV with Volvo or with Geely. I've made a video all about Northvolt and I'll put it in the link in the description below so you can learn about who Northvolt are. Now obviously they are the biggest battery manufacturer in Europe and they're putting in place massive plans for expansion. I believe they may IPO within the next 12 months and that's what my video is all about. So getting back to Tesla. Well, Tesla continues to surprise not only Wall Street, but all the naysayers, all the EV naysayers who say it's just a fad. Now guys, remember, every single automotive company in the world has admitted that EVs are the future and the only future, except for Toyota. And Honda is sort of saying a little bit, they're going to do hydrogen cars, a little bit. But really, Toyota are the main ones saying EVs are not the future and that 85% of their cars in 2030 will have a tailpipe. They may be hybrids, but they'll have a tailpipe. Do you believe that? Well, everyone else is saying EVs are the future and that the entire world passenger car market will go EV 100%, whether that's by 2030, by 2040 at the latest. Now, obviously, as you know, I believe it'll happen by 2030. Now, in the first quarter of 2021, Tesla sales were up 74% year over year, driven primarily by a 109% increase in vehicle deliveries. Its net income also surged to record highs on the back of regulatory credits. Now, I just want to talk quickly about the Tesla Model Y. It's been reported that if you want to order a Tesla Model Y in a number of countries, including China, you have to wait many, many months. The reason for this is, guys, honestly, there's a huge amount of demand for the Tesla Model Y. And we can see some of that demand in the number of pre-orders Tesla has for the Cybertruck, which is now approaching 1.35 million. Correct. Tesla actually has pre-orders of 1.35 million for the Cybertruck. So you can imagine there would be a huge number of orders for the Tesla Model Y, which has not even gone on sale in over 100 countries on the planet, which I think would actually buy it. Now in Q1, Tesla increased deliveries of its low-cost Model 3 and Model Y by an impressive 140% year over year to 182,338 units. However, deliveries of the higher-priced Model S and X vehicles were down 83% at 2,030 units. Now, there's a reason for that, a very good reason. In Q1, Tesla put deliveries of both of those cars on hold because it's going to launch them both with newer versions over the next couple of months. Tesla Model S Plaid is already on sale now. However, the Model X Plaid, the Model X, and also the Model S Long Range all haven't really been seen on the streets. They've been seen in the Tesla car park though, so I'm guessing they'll be on the streets very shortly. So those numbers will actually increase, and those models are where Tesla gets a lot of profitability from, so that should help Tesla's profitability this year. Now, Tesla reported a $430 million in net income, or 93 cents per share in the first quarter. This included a $101 million gain associated with its sale of Bitcoin. It also reported $518 million in sales of regulatory credits. Tesla bought $1.5 billion worth of digital assets in the quarter, Bitcoin. Absent the above referenced sales, Tesla would have reported a $181 million loss in Q1. Actually, guys, I think Tesla probably has lost a significant amount of money on the value of its Bitcoin. Now, who knows? That could definitely rebound over the next 6 months. But at this point in time, that Bitcoin purchase, while once looked amazing, is now not looking so good. Now, Tesla has pumped in $1.35 billion in capital expenditures and began construction of 2 new factories in Berlin and Texas this year. Once these projects are complete, the company should benefit from positive free cash flows over time. Now, even though Tesla continues to use conventional methods to boost its bottom line, it remains one of the best stocks in the EV sector. In my opinion, BYD and Tesla are the 2 best EV stocks in the EV sector. In fact, I believe that they're the 2 best stocks in the world. Now, Tesla's on track to increase its vehicle deliveries by more than 50%, I think by 100% year over year in 2021. And the company's management has confirmed it has sufficient liquidity to fund its expansion plans without having to raise any additional capital. Now, Geely stock is actually down 42% from 52-week highs. So right now, it looks like a pretty good buy. Geely is, like I said, an investment holding company and operates as an automobile manufacturer in China. It develops, produces, markets, and sells automobiles and automobile parts and related components. Now, one issue for Geely is that while Tesla has seen its sales increase at an extremely enviable pace, Geely has seen its sales decline to RMB 92 billion in 2020 from RMB 106.5 billion in 2018. Now, obviously, 2020 was a quiet year for the automotive industry, except for Tesla, that is, because of the coronavirus. Now, its EBITDA has also fallen to RMB 11.83 billion in this period from RMB 17.24 billion. And Geely's EBITDA margin has fallen to 12.8% in 2020 from 16.2% in 2018. Now, Geely has attributed the sales decline to China's weak passenger vehicle market. While its sales volume was down 10% year over year in 2019, it fell by another 6% in 2020. This is in part why its stock is trading 42% below its 52-week high. Now, the final takeaway. While Tesla is the largest EV manufacturer in the world, and I believe it will hold that position over the next 20 years, Geely is still trying to gain a foothold in this nascent industry. Now, in terms of valuation, Tesla is, like I said, trading at a far higher multiple than Geely. Now, for example, aside from PE, Tesla's trailing price to sales multiple stands at 20.5x, while Geely is valued at less than 2 times trailing sales. However, guys, Tesla's robust revenue forecast and their expanding profit margins can support this lofty valuation. Their PE of 650, which looks insane, but I believe won't look so insane by 2030, by which time I believe Tesla will also have full automation in their cars, which is a much bigger industry, very interestingly, than the entire auto market. Yep, Tesla stands to make a lot more money from autonomous taxis than it does from selling cars. That's what I believe will play out over the next 9 years. And I believe by 2030, at least 50% of Tesla's revenue will come from the ride-hailing industry and the autonomous truck and car industry. This, in my mind, makes it the better investment bet right now. However, guys, I do think if you want to take a punt, if you want to take a risk, Geely is an interesting company to take a risk on. Maybe you could put in 10% of your funds into Geely, as I believe they are fully committed to EV, and we will see a return to positive sales increase for Geely over the next 5 years. Guys, thanks for watching. I hope you've learned something here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about this article? What do you think about Geely? And what do you think about Tesla? Who are you invested in? Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.